Well, it's Wednesday, and you all know what that means. As you probably know, WWE Evolve features, of course, the main event, a six-man tag team match, an elimination match, of course, featuring the Mog Squad and members of the 1.0 of the WWE ID guys. So this is going to be a very interesting matchup, of course. And I think we have Braxton Cole and Aaron Lewis in a no disqualification match and plenty other things as well. So I'm looking forward to that. And of course, AEW Dynamite, they come off in the aftermath of the Forbidden Door. So the real question was next. Well, we just did hear, of course, that Mark Briscoe issued the challenge for the AEW World Title against MJF, which is the one thing that MJF does not want to tolerate. And of course, Andrade, as you know, has broken away from the Don Callis family after what's transpired with their dealings with MJF, and Darby Allin still has his fair issues towards Kevin Knight. But of course, the main event features the survival of the fittest for the vacancy of the TBS Championship. So who will walk out of the 6 women involved in this match as our new TBS champion? Well, we'll just have to wait and see and what happens. And then, of course, as always, we wrap up our episode, as usual, with some news updates, giving you guys updates on what's been happening in the world of wrestling, such as what events and promotions are thrown out, who's booked, what matches are set, including developments that are happening in the world of wrestling as we speak. So, let's get ready with another episode of Deleted Wrestle Zone.
Are you ready? Get up, get up! 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 Get up, get up!
Hey everyone, welcome to Deleted Wrestle Zone, all things that is pro wrestling with AEW, NXT, New Japan Pro Wrestling, TNA, the National Wrestling Alliance, various promotions, wrestlers, matches, and championships. I am your host, J-Rod here. So, if you are new to the channel, welcome. This is a channel we do a lot of pro wrestling reviews from various promotions, not only here in the United States, but also in Japan, Mexico, Canada, Europe, the UK. In the world of pro wrestling is not as big, but it continues to grow. We also, of course, do discussion videos, talk about various topics such as the wrestlers themselves, the promotions, factions, storylines, whatever we want to talk about. We'll, of course, do even more news updates. If certain information was unable to be on this episode, we can either put it on the next one or on a separate video by itself. We even, of course, do some real-time news updates to keep you guys on alert if something has happened in the world of wrestling that needs to be addressed ASAP. We even got the Unagi Sayaka Watch and various other cool wrestling content as well. So if you like what you see, please subscribe to us and click on our subscribe button. You'll be getting a lot of daily reviews and other cool wrestling content as well. But if you like this episode, please give us a like on the like button or a nice comment in the description down below. Now, enough of the jibber jabbers. Let's get started. So, let's begin with WWE Evolve. Alright, WWE Evolve. Now, 2 weeks ago, as you all know, musical artist made his presence known, and he asked Timothy Thatcher if it's okay if he can become guest general manager for this particular episode. And of course, our foreman, Timothy Thatcher, granted the permission, so he set up the bookings. Now, amongst those bookings happened 2 weeks ago during Secession, of course, Secession 3, where he, of course, said that the Mog Squad will be in a 6-man elimination tag team match, and that's one of them. But others he booked, so this is exactly what happened. The first match he posted out is Layla Diggs taking on Gianna Capri. Now, of course, it's no secret recently that Gianna Capri had her issues towards Anya Rune, like criticizing her, how much she has been, Oh, you got to be kidding me. That's why you don't deserve to be here. But Layla Diggs and Mason Holiday has stepped up to protect her, saying, hey, you have no right to criticize her, despite the fact that she is learning a lot of things. So basically, Jenna Capri feels someone like Anya Rue needs to leave. But yeah. But of course, Jenna Capri would do whatever it takes to get under the skin of Anya Rue. But there was a moment where Anya Rue tried to spread her anime powers onto her, tried to hurt her, but it did not work. But it did lead to a distraction for Layla Diggs to put her in a pinfall, take her down. First, she applied like a very impressive cartwheel, then into a Pele kick, and then finished her off with the moonsault. And just like that, 1, 2, 3, done. Now, while Layla Diggs and Mason Holiday are walking off to outside the ring, celebrating, while Braxton Cole is bitching and complaining about, of course, the rules of no disqualification. He does not like the rules, but, well, he should have known better to run his mouth, acting like he thinks he's a privileged child towards Harlan Lewis. And, of course, Harlan Lewis was going to beat the crap out of him. He probably deserved it. I mean, that's what he got. But he was able to put him away with the boom slang, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, that's over. However, during the post-match, Aaron Rourke showed up, and he congratulated him on his win, but he also thanked him for getting himself involved when the Mox Squad decided to cut the so Aaron Rourke told him that next week he asked, of course, our amazing foreman, Timothy Thatcher, to grant the permission for Aaron Lewis to have a title shot. And of course, Aaron Lewis realized that he earned it. So, I guess Aaron Lewis got what he wanted. But I wouldn't be surprised if Braxton Cole decided to get involved. That's the last thing I expect, but anything could happen. Now, Sloane Jacobs, as you know, she is happy with the fact that Nikita Lyons, she was under her wing, is now the new Evolve Women's Champion, and she's putting herself, saying she is grateful to be under the learning tree from her, and she can't wait to see how things are going to go from here on out. Now, we did hear from Kel Dixon, so apparently, as you know, he acted like, his past was a joke and all this, and this mysterious woman showed up, I don't know who she is, just talked about what the plans are for Kel Dixon until presence from a member of Dark Stage showed up, and that is, of course, Cutler James. But It's Gall, as you know, has unfinished business with Cutler James. I thought he could have had this match won, but man, It's Gall really, really stepped up his game, even better than last week. But however, it was Cutler James with the Dark Matter to put him away, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, it was over. So Dark Stage may mark themselves in Evolve. Now, Elijah Holyfield, well, let's just say he was not satisfied about how he lost the match to Brooks Jensen. But Brooks Jensen may have, of course, won the match, but Elijah Holyfield is not done with him yet. Now, I'm sure Brooks Jensen is going to be the kind of guy that's like, look, I beat you, it's over, we're done, I'm moving on. Nope. I'm sure Elijah Holyfield is going to have a very, very interesting day once he gets his hands on, of course, Brooks Jensen, but we'll see. Now, in the office of our foreman, Timothy Thatcher, let's just say that Tweedledee and Tweedledum, I'm talking about, Cam Hendricks and Harley Riggins, are not happy with the fact that Tate Wilde is now taking a full-time position in NXT. They feel, look, we're not done with him after what he did to us the last time. So basically, it's more like they still want to make his life a living hell. But Timothy Thatcher told him, look, let me talk to Mr. Stone and see what we can do. So basically, there's that. But also, the two security guys named Victor Sunoff and Shido Ash showed up. Timothy Thatcher, of course, had some questions and asked them, hey, what the hell were you guys trying to do, huh? So basically, they were not happy what happened in the main event of last week. And, well, let's just say these guys they just want to have their opportunities to wrestle in the ring. But I don't know how Timothy Thatcher feels, but we'll see how that rolls from there. Now, we jump into our main event, which is the 6-man elimination tag team match, of course. The Mox Squad, consisting of Santi Rivera, Jabari Ball, and CJ Balor, along with that creep, Max Abram, who is still probably bitter, losing the Evolve Championship to Aaron Rourke. they take on Marcus Mathers, Sam Holloway, and Cappuccino Jones. But of course, the X Factor had to be that creep, Max Abram, that keeps getting himself involved. But of course, surprisingly, they eliminated everyone on the opposing team. The Mock Swag eliminated Marcus Mathers, then of course Cappuccino Jones and Holloway. So basically, the Mock Squad are now trying to take control of Evolve. But the real question is, can they be stopped? Now, if I was Aaron Work, I would build a group of guys to counter that. You know, so we'll see how that will play out too. So right now we're done with Evolve. We'll see what happens next week. So let's move on to our next and final review, and that is, of course, AEW Dynamite. Okay, AEW Dynamite. Now, as you all know, we entered the aftermath after the Forbidden Door. So, a lot of things are taking place. Now, there was a bit of an interview that happened this past Sunday, of course, where Renee Paquette congratulated Will Ospreay, being accompanied by Alex Windsor, winning the Owen Hart tournament. And of course, this is a crowning achievement because he gets to go to Wembley Stadium to fulfill his lifelong dream to wrestle there, since he is from the UK, of course. And then, of course, we did see Jon Moxley. Now, of course, Moxley is trying to open up and like tell him that he wants him to join the Death Riders, that sort of thing, and that sort of thing is going to happen from there. But of course, I think Will Ospreay is a bit conflicted about that, like joining a group like them. But later, Kenny Omega congratulated him, of course, saying that was a beautiful match that he's ever seen. But of course, Will Ospreay kind of took it like, you're not my dad, or not. But Kenny wasn't being like that. He was kind of like seeing that this is something that he loved to see about Will. And then, of course, MJF decided to spoil the party. But of course, Kenny Omega reminded him, saying, hey, you had that match against Mark Briscoe, but if somehow you survive that, there's another door you need to break down, that's going to be breaking down. And of course, that person is Will Ospreay. So that kind of sets it up right there. Now, that match, of course, with Briscoe, that was our opening match. Of course, this is the one match that MJF did not want. He thinks that a guy like Briscoe, it's an embarrassment to become AEW champion, because he feels he has to protect it from guys like him. I mean, look, nobody expected that Briscoe was going to be ROH World Champion because they thought, oh, you're in it because of your brother. No. Briscoe stepped up his own game, knowing that he may not have his brother with him anymore, but he has to find his own path now as a singles competitor, and that's what matters. And of course, there was going to be a lot of things to wait for Briscoe to dismantle MJF, but unfortunately that did not happen, because MJF was able to defeat him by using the Heat Seeker, and then he tried to use the Diamond Ring during the post-match, of course, after beating him. And then Kenny Omega showed up to rescue him. And then, of course, he told him that he is coming for him. But, however, MJF said no, and that's when he had another idea. He told him that he'll put if he takes the stipulation that if he wins, that if he loses, he will not get another opportunity. Now, this is also another deja vu for Kenny Omega. First, it was Cody, and now Hangman. So basically, this is another thing that he has to deal with, of course. Now, of course, MJF, let's just say he has no problems with Don Callis, but he does have a problem with the person that cost him the match, and that is, of course, Andrade. He doesn't blame Don Callis for that, because, of course, Andrade has his way, he wants to get his hands on the AEW World Title. But, of course, he has to deal with Kenny Omega, and then, of course, Will Ospreay got into his face. So, you can guess how that's going to be. Now, Tony Schiavone, of course, interviewed Andrade El Idolo, talking about, of course, that he is broken away from Don Callis, and, of course, revealing the shirt that says F MJF, F Don, of course, that sort of thing. And then he made it perfectly clear that he is still aiming for the AEW World Title. But the obvious question is, the people always say that he always says, but the people want to know how you know. And of course, because of that, he was attacked by the members of the Don Callis family. Of course, Kevin Knight, uh, Brian Cage, Jake Doyle, and a few other. I think that was about it. They dismantled him completely. But however, we jumped in where, of course, Kevin Knight defends his title against Lio Rush. But of course, Mercedes Moné sent a direct message um, to the women's locker room saying that there's not that she is, of course, the it factor, and now she is aiming for the AEW World Title, which is a title that has eluded her since arriving. So that kind of set up right there. So we'll see what happens. Now, Kevin Knight, of course, faces off against Lio Rush. I thought the match was great. I thought it was hilarious that Lio Rush went into the face of Don Callis and he ran like it was a dang movie. You know, I thought that was awesome. But of course, we did see the backpack where it has the ROH World Television title in black. So that was interesting. But of course, Jake Doyle gets involved. That idiot, you know, doing Don Callis' work, acting like he's a good guy. And then, of course, the crash landing by Kevin Knight was the it factor to put away Lio Rush. And then, of course, Darby Allin, as you know, he wants his hands on Kevin Knight and, of course, the TNT title. But Don Callis is saying, no, what you did to Kevin Knight on Forbidden Door with that explosive backpack is criminal. You should be in jail. It's never going to happen. But Darby warned him, if I don't get what I want, it's going to be worse. Now, Don Callis can say no all he wants because, in my opinion, Don Callis thinks he's a genius. No, Don, you have your head so far up your ass, you forget who you're dealing with. Darby Allin will get to you. If you don't believe me, go ask anybody who dealt with him. And trust me, you can try to fight it all you want, but you'll lose. And that's a fact. Now, Tommaso Ciampa, well, let's just say he was not happy about what happened in Collision last Saturday, where, of course, Jericho was saying, told Tony Schiavone, tell Ciampa that I'm better than him. He did not like that because Ciampa always believes he's far more better than Jericho, but Jericho attacked him. Oh my God, they went all over the backstage to the trucking area. They had to separate these guys. It was chaotic, but we can't wait to see how their match is going to happen on Beach Break. So that's going to be interesting. Now, Renee Paquette went to the Elite locker room. Now, of course, Matt and Nick Matt mostly was concerned, like saying, look, guys, two of our Elite comrades have already fallen to this thing. First, and he was referring to, of course, Cody and Hangman. And the last thing they need is for Kenny to be in that position. But of course, Kenny may have no other choice. This is something that he needs. But what choice that he has? You know, that's one of the things that I think that really, for Kenny, he has to think about this clearly. Now, our next match, we have Will Ospreay and Jon Moxley taking on the members of Lethal Twist. More specifically, Swirl, Blake Christian, and Lee Johnson. And I thought the match was pretty good, but not to mention Lethal, well, let's just say, he thinks he can get away with everything, but he forgets you're dealing with the problem, and that is, of course, Marina, and Marina body slammed them. But we did see a great combination of the German suplex, then the hidden blade, and then just like that, 1, 2, 3, Will Ospreay picked up the win. Just like that for his team. Now, we did see, of course, last Wednesday last Sunday another interview after, of course, Christian Cage and Adam Copeland retaining their belts against the Dogs. But however, of course, Christian Cage asks Copeland, what's the deal with Jay White? What do you mean? You know that me and him had some issues before. So basically what he's saying, he still some had unfinished business with, of course, Blake Christian. But we all know what Jay White was there. He had his fair issues towards the one man that attacked him almost a couple years ago, and that is, of course, David Finlay. Now, of course, we did see Jay White making his return along with the Bang Bang Gang. So, of course, Jay White hasn't forgotten. Now, for those who may not remember, in Jay White's final match in New Japan, but it did not happen in Japan, it was here in the States, he was attacked from behind by David Finlay because, of course, they did not let him ride off to the sunset, and that kind of lets it out. So he's like saying, now that I'm here, it's time to finish what I started. So there's that. But however, they did say they want to get their hands on the Dogs sooner or later. So they want to see that in Collision. But however, another group is like saying, "Hey, Bang Bang Gang, sorry guys, you guys are not the toughest guys like you claim because you guys have been out of action." And that, of course, is Shane Taylor Promotions. They act like they think they're better and tougher and dangerous than any other person there. But don't count out the Switchblade, Shane Taylor. You never met a guy like him because you need to breathe with the Switchblade. Now, our main event is, of course, the survival of the fittest for the vacancy of the TBS Championship. We have, of course, Chris Statlander versus Micah versus Harley Cameron versus Persephone versus Queen Aminata versus Hikaru Shida. Now, remember, this title was vacant due to Willow Nightingale being injured, and that led to figure out how this was going to go. Now, this is how this went down from the elimination. Persephone eliminated, of course, Harley Cameron. Shida eliminated Micah, and it was Persephone who eliminated Queen Aminata. Now, all those eliminations that Persephone did, she did that while she took advantage of the situation. Then, of course, Chris Statlander eliminated Persephone after. But, however, Persephone, as you know, used the TBS title to whack Chris Statlander and allowed Shida to apply the ankle lock, and now she is the new TBS champion. But what no one understands, Hikaru Shida is now the second woman to carry both the AEW Women's title and the TBS Championship together. Now, if I was Chris Statlander, I would aim for the AEW World Tag Team belts, but with a much better partner. So we'll see about that as well. Now, the last thing before the event ended is Kenny Omega accepted the challenge, but even though he's not okay with it. So he knows that he's saying, I'm not going to fall like Hangman or Cody Rhodes. So he's saying late in that statement that it's not going to happen to him. But of course, MJF decided to attack him from behind, try to ensure he stays down. But Kenny refuses to. But we'll see what happens when that day happens as well. So, well, I think we're all holding our breath from here. But for now, let's end it here with our reviews and wrap up our episode with some news updates. Okay, so welcome to our news updates. So let's begin with upcoming events, of course, with GCW. As you know, we have the Bash in the Ballpark this coming Saturday in Coney Island. The JCW title, Charles Mason, the root of all evil, will defend it against Cheeseburger. And then we have the following day, Backyard Wrestling 8 at the undisclosed location. We have JJ Allen, Crazy Mike on the match, and then we have Enman, which I think is Jimmy Lloyd, taking on Lowlife Jr. So yeah, so basically, if you guys aren't familiar with this show, they're playing characters, and the location is undisclosed. So basically, they never reveal where it is. So it's a real interesting concept. And then, of course, as you know, we have the Dallas show on the 18th of July, The Life of Crime. The JCW World title will be defended. Atticus Cover will be facing Emerson Jane. Now, we do have the collaboration with West Coast Pro and PrideStyle with Rooted on the 25th. It was announced 2 matches. One is the New Wave Champion World title, Tania versus Alan Angel. So it's a intergender match. Then we have G-Sharp versus Dustin Nguyen. Now, finally, of course, we have Produce Volume 3 Asuka that will take place on August 3. We have Carl Malenko versus Tim Boss. Then we have, of course, a 6-woman tag match. We have the ladies from Stardom, Fuwa-chan, Azuki, and Rana Yagami taking on Nixie NS, Janai Kai, and Jordan Blade. So that's going to be a real fun match right there. Now, of course, let's move on to some developments. Now, please mark this on your calendar, folks. Now, as you know, Rey Mysterio has Rey Mysterio Day on June 19th. That happened a couple years ago. Well, another history has been made. July 1st is now declared by our good old mayor in San Diego, Todd Gloria, Thunder Rosa Day. And there's a picture of that where, of course, Thunder Rosa meets with the mayor of San Diego. So, yeah, that's been declared. Sad news for Produce. Apparently, Marcus Mathers has been pulled away from the upcoming event of Produce Show, which is Tiger Style. That'll take place later on this month, of course. Some people think that this is a thing from WWE. As you know, he's part of the WWE program, that sort of thing. But I know there's more to it from my understanding, but I think I'll put that in the next news update to explain it to all of you. Now, as you all know, the tragic passing of Joe Doering. As you all know, he was dealing with brain tumor. Many of you may or may not have been aware of that. Much of Joe Doring's career was in All Japan Pro Wrestling, and of course, this hits them in the heart, knowing that someone who's been loved in Japan, who's wrestled for them, has passed away. They just announced that there's going to be a memorial service for Joe Doering, and this will take place on July 19th for the Summer Action Series in Cork and all. And I'm very happy that they decided to give him a memorial a memory service, and I think that's a good thing. And I'm sure Joe Doring's family are appreciating that from them. Now, as you all know, there's been a lot of changes with New Japan when, of course, Bushiroad sold all their shares to Cyberfight and TVSI. Well, it turns out that Cyber Agent VP named Yasui Akamoto is now appointed as part of the new board of directors of New Japan Pro Wrestling. Now, so we're still hearing more about the changes of that. But we do know, for those who are saying, nothing has changed with the partnership between both AEW and New Japan. And I think some people are hoping that New Japan ends their relationship. But like I said, nothing has changed over that. And I'm sure that's what they want to keep. Now, Hiroshi Tanahashi, as you know, was at the Forbidden Door. He had a very interesting talk about Yota Tsuji, of course. As you all know, Yota Tsuji had his own opinions about coming to AEW, defending the heavyweight title and that sort of thing. But Tanahashi kind of gave his explanations towards that, and this is what he said. And he even talked about, of course, Tony Khan, about Yota Tsuji's statement about what he said. He said this: "As president, I have acknowledged and accept Yota Tsuji's opinions. I think one of the greatest things about New Japan is that there's different opinions at times, and that's positive, not a negative. I talked over with Tony Khan and settled this in that regard. Shota Umino did a tremendous job in Forbidden Door and really boosted the American fans' awareness of him and the global title." So basically, he doesn't treat what Yota Tsuji said about AEW like, as a negative thing. He treats it as a positive. So there's a difference between that. He even had to explain this to Tony Khan about this, and I'm glad that he's working that relationship out with him. Like, to say, look, he doesn't mean it that way, but he kind of tried to explain it to him, in a good, clear content, and I think that's the best part. Now, of course, Kevin Knight, as you all know, he got shebanged during Forbidden Door, that explosion backpack, and this is what he said. They were saying 2026 is the year that the jet and I'm supposed to blow up. I didn't know it was going to be literally blowing up off the top of the cage, and that matter toweling 20 feet through 2 tables. What do you expect? You never know what to expect in this business. I did all those squats in the dojo, and I prepared with hands all this damage, and I'm still recovering. I did not do my homework. I tried to grab the bag, and I didn't think that Darby Allin would blow me up, but knowing him, I should have known something was coming. No duh, Kevin Knight, you should have known that was coming. You think Darby Allin was just going to sit on his ass and be lazy? No. He has something sinister. And that's the problem with what's going on with Darby Allin that people don't know. Don Callis, like I said earlier, you may try to deny Darby Allin a shot of the TNT title from the TNT Championship from Kevin Knight, but guess what? You don't know what's gonna happen. You can complain and bitch about it, fool. Let's see what happens. So that's pretty much it. So let's call it a day. Well, I hope everybody enjoys this episode. Coming up, we do have some more news updates that I do know we're going to talk about. I decided to save this for the next. I didn't want to put too much strain on this one on this episode, so I thought it'd be great. So we'll see what happens. But for now, that's pretty much it. But of course, the next episode we will feature AEW Collision, TNA, and of course Ring of Honor. So we'll see how things go from there. But until then, I will see you guys in the next DWZ time, same DWZ channel. I must bid all of you adieu. So, goodbye, and have a nice day. Ben.